Part 8. The Sea of Suffering is boundless, only a ferryman exists. So in this world, the most troublesome thing is none other than suffering. Old Mr. Shakyamuni, that enlightened master from the pure land of ancient northern India, had already meticulously broken down life's 8 great sufferings for us. Just think, that agonizing pain at birth, that's birth suffering. Don't think the misery ends there. Next, you have to endure old age, sickness, and death, 3 colossal mountains. And this birth suffering isn't a one-time deal. It pops up to annoy you now and then, permeating your entire life, making you live like a walking KPI assessment report. But life's dungeon of misery goes far beyond these 4. There are some even more exquisite torments. Listen closely. Suffering of resentment. You step on dog poop on your way out. Your wife complains when you get home, and your boss finds fault with you daily. Your heart feels so utterly stifled. You're at odds with everyone all day, and you feel like everyone owes you $1,000. Isn't this the suffering born of resentment? Suffering of parting from loved ones. Matters of the heart are the most grueling. You love your parents, your partner, your siblings, but reality's slap, smack, smack comes along forcing you to be scattered across the lands far from each other. Thinking of those tearful farewells only to lament the autumn chill. Tisk, tisk, truly too many tears to speak of. Suffering of not obtaining what one desires. You want a promotion and a raise, a house and a car, to marry a beauty of heavenly proportions, and the result? After struggling for ages, you find yourself still treading water. Or worse, you've spent the money and haven't even won over the person. Life is just a grand historical disillusionment of the wishing well. Suffering of the 5 aggregates of grasping. This last one's a bit brain-frying. You first need to understand the word aggregate. Old Mr. Shakyamuni saw that all things have selflessness, meaning they can't exist without external support. Take a house, for instance. Without a foundation, it's just a pile of scrap metal. He gave this characteristic of selflessness a name, emptiness. Thus the famous saying echoed through the land, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Of course, when the word form, se, arrived in China, it was twisted by some lonely souls into a self-deprecating joke. Besides form, there's also feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness, 4 methods of perceiving the world, collectively called the 5 aggregates. And the suffering of the 5 aggregates of grasping is your psychological perception of the preceding 7 kinds of suffering. You think, this suffering is truly bitter. And this very act of thinking it's bitter is itself a form of suffering. These 8 kinds of sufferings, to put it bluntly, are because your heart is filled with too many dreams and you're carrying too heavy a burden. Old Mr. Shakyamuni stated in the Heart Sutra that to attain liberation, one must have a mind without hindrances, and the 5 aggregates are empty. Only then can one be without fear and free from delusion, ultimately ascending to Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, which is the supreme and perfect enlightenment. Simply put, clear out the junk in your heart, and you'll be complete. All things in this world, like the weather, have day and night. The moon waxes and wanes, all in cycles of cause and effect. You are not an isolated individual. You have a past life, a present life, and a future life, and these 3 are constantly in a cyclical loop. Your experiences in this life are the fruits of the karma from your past life. Therefore, it is said, to know the karma of past lives is what you receive in this life. To know the fruits of future lives is what you do in this life.
Speaking of which, Shakyamuni's homeland, the Shakya clan, was destroyed by foreign invaders back then. He pondered this matter and concluded it was due to his own clan. They lived by fishing in the past, and now they had to face retribution. And guess what? His own persistent headaches were caused by him hitting fish heads with a stick when he was a child. This retribution came remarkably quickly. At this point, Shakyamuni completely became the spiritual leader in everyone's eyes. Every day in his own garden, he would pour spiritual chicken soup to his fans, explaining how the world worked and how people should practice to avoid those 8 great sufferings. Among them was a rich merchant named Anatta Pindika, meaning one who gives to the lonely, known as the Bodhisattva of generosity, because he especially loved to help lonely and homeless elders. This fellow was deeply moved after listening to Shakyamuni's teachings and decided to build a 5-star estate for the Buddha and his vast retinue of disciples. This estate was to be built on a prime piece of land belonging to Prince Jita of the kingdom of Shrivasti. Anathapindika went to negotiate with the prince. The prince said, "All right, if you can pave the entire garden with gold, I'll sell it." As a result, this old friend, Anathapindika, truly went all out, emptying his coffers, beating the gold into foil, and paving it inch by inch. The prince, impressed, said, "Fine, the garden is yours, but the trees haven't been covered in gold yet, so they'll still be mine. I'll donate these trees as well. However, the garden's name must bear my share." Thus, this place acquired a resounding name, Jeta Grove, Anathapindika's Park. Now, the Buddha and his followers finally had a permanent base. One day, they arrived in Shrivasti, carrying their alms bowls, and went from door to door to beg for alms. Don't think this was something shameful. Shakyamuni had a theory. It was benefiting oneself and others. Benefiting oneself meant saving time and energy to focus on practice, not complaining when full, nor worrying when hungry. Benefiting others meant giving ordinary people a chance to encounter the Buddha, absorb some of his divine aura, and perhaps one day join him in cultivating immortality. After eating their full, everyone returned to Jeta Grove, Anathapindika's Park, and embarked on that epic enlightenment. This enlightenment gave birth to the incredibly influential Diamond Sutra, full name Vajraprajna Paramita Sutra. The name is quite long, but Master Zhuangzi explained it as wisdom that can break through afflictions as hard as a diamond and reach the ideal shore. Of course, you must pronounce prajna correctly. In ancient times, the character bor was pronounced bor, first tone. However, don't be too rigid about it. Pronunciations, like the world, change. Buddhism states that as long as you pronounce it sincerely, with a pure heart and without causing ambiguity, even if you mispronounce a word, it's not a mortal sin. There's even a story about chanting mantras. A highly accomplished monk saw a thatched hut shimmering with golden light outside. Upon entering, he found an old woman devoutly chanting the 6-syllable mantra, Om Mani Padma Hum. This mantra is Guanyin Bodhisattva's secret code, meaning roughly, may my merits be complete and may I merge with the Buddha, Amitabha Buddha. But this old woman pronounced the last syllable, hum, as cow, Winyu. The monk kindly corrected her. The old woman was terrified, fearing her merits would be in vain. After the monk left, the golden light disappeared. He quickly returned and told the old woman, "Oh, I was just teasing you earlier. Your original pronunciation was correct." This time, the golden light shone again. So, when it comes to spiritual practice, sincerity is paramount. Sometimes, that diamond-like wisdom that breaks through afflictions might just be contained in a slightly imperfect hum.